Yellowstone Supervolcano. What's going on there? The world's most powerful volcano is rumbling again. The Yellowstone Supervolcano is located in the northwest corner of Wyoming. It is one of the largest and most active areas of the Yellowstone National Park. However, it has been quiet for thousands of years. But recently, researchers have noticed unusual activities beneath its surface. So the question here is it about to erupt? If so, what would that mean for the surrounding areas and for the rest of the world? In this video, we will try to answer these questions. Make sure to watch until the end to find out. Also, please subscribe and like the video. Yellowstone Calera. Yellowstone is not just one single volcano, but a volcanic field with more than 3,000 square miles of area. It consists of 3 major calderas, which are large depressions that form in the ground after an eruption. These are the areas where the majority of Yellowstone's lava has erupted from over the past 2 million years. The easternmost of these calderas is the Yellowstone Calera. Between 640,000 and 600,000 years ago, this caldera formed when a massive amount of magma was released during an eruption. This event was so violent that it left behind a crater that was 43 miles wide and 8,200 feet deep. That's nearly twice as deep as the Mariana Trench, the deepest part of the Earth's oceans. Over time, the North American plate carrying the Yellowstone caldera moved northwestward, bringing it closer to the second caldera, which is the Middle America Trench. At the site where they meet, magma chambers have started to form once again, and at some point this magma will eventually force its way onto the surface, creating another caldera, Yellowstone Lake. As time went on, the Yellowstone caldera was filled with water, creating today's Yellowstone Lake. Today, this lake covers an area of 348 square miles and reaches depths of 390 feet. Scientists can tell that even though the major eruptions have stopped, there is still activity under the lake. They can feel almost 1,000 earthquakes every year that happen due to the movement of magma underneath. The Grand Prismatic Spring. If we take a look at the third caldera, which is the most active one, we will see the famous Grand Prismatic Spring. This spring is one of the most popular tourist attractions in the park and is the third largest hot spring in the world. Its beautiful colors are created by bacteria that live near the spring. These bacteria convert compounds in the spring water into energy, and in the process, they create pigments that range in color from yellow to orange to red to blue. Yellowstone eruptions. In the past 2 million years, there have been 3 periods of intense eruptive activity at Yellowstone. These periods are separated by quiescent periods of hundreds of thousands of years. During the first period, starting about 2 million years ago, the magma chamber beneath Yellowstone began to develop. Lava began erupting and spreading out over the surrounding area. The eruptions were not very violent, and the lava flowed for hundreds of miles from the central vent. During the second period, beginning about 1.3 million years ago, the eruptions became more explosive. The magma chamber had grown larger, and the pressure from the magma was greater. During this period, the first super-eruption occurred. Huge amounts of ash and pumice were thrown into the air, and vast areas were covered with thick layers of debris. The third period began around 630,000 years ago and lasted until about 600,000 years ago. During this time, Yellowstone experienced its most violent eruption yet. An estimated 250 cubic miles of ash and pumice were ejected into the air, blanketing much of North America. Yellowstone hotspots. It is interesting to note that all of the major eruptions at Yellowstone have occurred along a line that runs roughly northwest to southeast. This line is known as the Yellowstone Hotspot. The hotspot is actually a plume of hot rock that extends deep into the Earth's mantle. As the North American plate moves over the hotspot, magma chambers form and eventually erupt. When the plate moves away from the hotspot, the magma chamber empties, and the cycle starts over again. Yellowstone magma chamber. One thing that scientists are closely monitoring is the size of the magma chamber beneath Yellowstone. Using seismic data, they can track the movement of magma as it rises and falls within the chamber. Recently, they have noticed that the magma chamber has been filling up at a faster rate than usual. However, this does not necessarily mean that an eruption is imminent. It is possible that the magma chamber could continue to fill up for many more years without an eruption occurring. Yellowstone earthquake swarms. Another sign that scientists are watching for is an increase in earthquake activity. When magma begins to move within the Earth's crust, it can cause the surrounding rocks to shift, and this can trigger earthquakes. In the past, there have been several swarms of earthquakes that have preceded eruptions at Yellowstone. However, it is important to remember that not every swarm of earthquakes has led to an eruption. Some of the swarms have been followed by periods of quiet. Yellowstone gas emissions. Yellowstone is also one of the world's largest emitters of gases, releasing about 600,000 tons of carbon dioxide each year. The majority of these emissions come from the hydrothermal system, which includes geysers, hot springs, and fumaroles. While these emissions are a normal part of Yellowstone's activity, scientists do monitor them to look for any changes that may indicate an increase in volcanic activity, signs of an imminent eruption. So the question remains, what are the signs that an eruption is imminent? There are three main signs to look out for. The first is an increase in the frequency and strength of earthquakes. If the magma chamber continues to fill up, it will eventually trigger a swarm of earthquakes. The second sign is an increase in gas emissions. As the magma rises, it will start to release more and more gas. And the third sign is a change in the shape of the caldera. If the magma chamber is getting full, the caldera may begin to bulge in some places or sink in others. All of these signs are monitored closely by scientists to help them predict when the next eruption will occur. Yellowstone eruption scenarios. While it is impossible to say exactly what will happen when Yellowstone erupts, scientists have put together a few scenarios based on past eruptions and the current state of the volcano. In the most likely scenario, Yellowstone will have a small eruption at one of the vents along the northwest side of the caldera. This type of eruption would be similar to the ones that have occurred in the past 200 years and would not cause major damage outside of the park. A more serious scenario would involve an eruption at the Yellowstone caldera. This type of eruption would be much larger than the ones that have occurred in recent history and would send ash and pumice over a large area. The ash would cause major damage to crops and infrastructure and could disrupt air travel over a large part of the United States. A third scenario is the most serious and involves a super eruption. This type of eruption would be much larger than any eruption in recorded history and would have global consequences. The ash and gases would spread over much of the northern hemisphere, disrupting weather patterns and causing major crop failures. Is it time to be concerned? There have been some unusual activities at Yellowstone recently, but nothing that would indicate an imminent eruption. The U.S. Geological Survey monitors Yellowstone closely and has not given any indication that an eruption is on the horizon. It is important to remember that Yellowstone is a very large area and eruptions can occur at any of the vents. It is also important to remember that eruptions can be small or large and may or may not cause major damage outside of the park. Conclusion. Yellowstone is a powerful reminder of the awesome forces that shape our planet. While it is impossible to predict when the next eruption will occur, scientists are working hard to understand the volcano and any potential risks it may pose. By understanding Yellowstone, we can better protect ourselves and the surrounding areas in case of an eruption. So if you are planning a trip to Yellowstone National Park, don't worry too much about the volcano. Just enjoy the amazing scenery and wildlife. With over 3,000 miles of hiking trails and geysers, hot springs and wildlife viewing opportunities, there is something for everyone to enjoy. What do you think? Do you think the Yellowstone volcano will erupt soon? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button for more videos like this. Have a great